The greater the dream, the greater the weight. Hi, I'm Brian. Welcome to my garage Bible study. Do you have a dream that you feel God's given you, or just a dream that you have that you think God is good with? You call it a dream, you can call it a vision. The greater it is, the more important it is, the bigger it is, the longer it's going to take to understand its reality and for it to come to realization. The biggest dream, maybe the biggest dream in the Bible is God having a desire to choose one guy on the planet and make a chosen nation out of him. His name was Abraham, or Abram, later on was changed to Abraham. He comes to Abraham and tells him this in Genesis chapter 12. Now the Lord said to Abram, "Go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you." So go from where you are. If you've got a dream, if you've got a vision, you're going to have to leave where you are right now. Might not be move and leave your house. So I'm in a house with this garage, large part because I felt God was taking us into a new phase of life, and He wanted us to move. Whenever God gives you a vision, a dream, it very frequently means a change in place. Sometimes I'll change my office at the church I work in, and I have changed my location in the office just because, okay, there's a new thing I'm called to here. I need to get a fresh environment to be around. This is Abraham, like where you are right now, pick up and go. And then he says this, "I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonors you I will curse, and in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." Who would love to hear this from God? I would. I'll make you a great nation. I will greatly bless you. Through you, other people will be blessed. It's like, woo, great. You know, you're not giving me a vision to be naked, living in Namibia or something like that. Not that people who are naked in Namibia have any problems, but there's some visions that, oh, not that one. Abraham gets this one, like, man, I am loving that one. Going to be blessed. All kinds of people. I'm going to be blessing other people. Amazing. This actually comes through true. It's an amazing situation because the Jews are the most productive nation in all of history. They're still around. From this moment till now, they're still around. Hittites and the Gittites and the Philistines and the Amorites, all these ancient people, they're not around. The Egyptians are, but all the rest of them, they're all gone. But Egypt, with crazy oppression, is still around, having created innovation. Drip irrigation is one example that's blessing all of the world. Maybe the biggest thing, not maybe, for sure, the biggest thing that the nation of Israel has blessed the rest of the world is coming out of Abraham's lineage is Jesus, the Messiah. Through him, he blesses all people with the opportunity of salvation. Abraham, I don't think he knows about Jesus. I don't know if he's thinking about Jesus, but all he does know is, man, I got a great life ahead of me. Amazing stuff is happening. And then what happens? Life happens. Time happens. This comes to Abraham when he's about 75 years old. Several years later, we're not sure exactly how many years later, but several years later, it says this. In Genesis, where is it here? In Genesis chapter 15. Abraham said, verse 2, Abraham said, "O Lord God, what will you give me, for I continue childless, and the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus?" And Abram said, "Behold, you give me no offspring, and a member of my household will be my heir." In the ancient world, the household wasn't just your nuclear family. Your household consisted of your extended family that might live with you or live under your protection. It would consist of servants, slaves who you had lent money to, and they hadn't paid it back, and you by law could take them in and they would work off their debt until they could be released again. There was all kinds of people who were under your care. And Abraham's like, man, I remember this thing about being a blessing and having a nation. It's obviously not going to come through my loins, I guess, because nothing is happening here at all. Maybe I'm supposed to be through some of these servants and all that stuff. There's things that were happening in the culture that God hadn't specifically spoken against, but people were doing. This is one of the things that God was not wanting people to have sex with people who were inside of their household, or basically their family business. It was a cultural thing. Everyone did it. God was silent about it. He let it persist, but he didn't clearly eliminate it until much, much later. He never was for it, just didn't clearly eliminate it. And so Abraham is thinking, all right, well, I guess this is the way it's supposed to be. Now, you can imagine with Abraham married to Sarah, the level of tension this is. I don't care if this is cultural. I don't care if Sarah knows that this is a normal thing. When your husband is having sex with other women under your household roof to have a child because you're not producing the child, or at least they're assuming it's not Sarah. It could have very well been Abraham. I mean, they didn't have medicine to figure out if it was Abraham's swimmers or her eggs. We don't know that, but their assumption is it's on the Sarah side. You can imagine the tension that Sarah would have and how this would have been just a thorn under her fingernail, a thorn in their relationship for years. And then more years and more years go by. And then we come to Genesis chapter 17. It says this, I will bless her, moreover, and I will give you her, Sarah. I will give you a son by her. I will bless her, and she shall become nations. Kings of peoples shall come from her. Then Abraham fell on his face and laughed and said to himself, shall a child be born to a man who's 100 years old? Shall Sarah, who is 90 years old, bear a child? He laughs like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. Then we jump over into the next chapter, verse 10. The Lord said, I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah, your wife, shall have a son. And Sarah was listening as Abraham and God were talking, and Sarah was listening at the tent door behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, advanced in years. The way of women had ceased to be with Sarah. That means she's in menopause or past menopause. I don't know these things. Is it you're always in menopause? Or I should know this. I have a wife of such an age. But this is the Garage Bible Study. This isn't like the menopause or women's health and reproductive services Bible study. This is Garage. I don't know all these things. All I know is Sarah is not able to produce a child. And she says, so Sarah laughed to herself, saying, after I am worn out and my Lord is old, shall I have pleasure? Sarah calls herself worn out. So Abraham, when he hears about this, he laughs like, oh man, really? It's still going to happen even though I'm old? Sarah hears this and her laugh is one of derision. Yeah, right. After I'm old and worn out, is this going to come? This is when they're about 100. So 25 years of waiting until there is any progress. I find this sobering and encouraging. If God gives you a dream or God gives you a vision, do not expect it to happen this week, this month, or this year. If it's going to happen this week, this month, or this year, it's just on your to-do list. It's not a vision. It's not a dream. And every dream, every vision will have a long lead time, and in the midst of that lead time, you will doubt whether or not you heard from God. You will question whether or not that was God or that was you. You will wrestle with bitterness. You'll wrestle with disappointment. You'll wrestle with the fear of being abandoned by God, or even maybe accusing God of being a liar because nothing has happened. This is the most important thing going on in the world at this point. One of the most important things going on in the world ever. It's probably a close second behind Jesus dying on the cross and coming back from the dead. So if Abraham and Sarah got to hang in there for 25 years, you and I can hang in there for a couple years or a decade. We might even need to hang in there longer because we don't have the same level of faith that they did. Do not give up on the dream. Don't give up on the vision, and don't lose hope just because it's so hard and it's taking so long. You have to believe in order to achieve. I know it sounds like some big self-help thing, but it's true. It says in the Bible that Abraham believed and God counted it to him as righteous. It was right that he believed, and after that belief, we can achieve. You have to believe. God has his hand on your life, and God wants to do something with your life, and sometimes you just keep believing and keep trotting along as best you can. That's the way every dream, every vision is realized in God's way and in God's timing. That's all I got for you today. We'll see you next time on My Garage Bible Study.